Well, greetings to you. I'm attaching today a piece on military logistics by an international expert, and make of it what you will. I think it's very informative. I was a logistics officer years ago with British Army on the Rhine, and so it is something that I have an interest in. Okay, long time ago, but the general principles haven't changed. Let's just look at some of the general principles. What is logistics? What is logistics in a sentence? Well, basically, it's getting the right stuff to the right place at the right time. That is logistics. And that concept, militarily, is as old as the hills. And it's a fascinating concept. And it's how wars are won and lost. It's a lot about economic power, manufacturing and logistics. We all think about tin hat and a gun and gung-ho and stuff like that, but it's not actually what wins modern wars, particularly. Now, let's just go back a little bit and look at the beginning, the manifestation of modern war, which you might argue came in the Napoleonic era. And the Duke of Wellington, a great general, great British general, was always very, very careful about his commissariat, his logistics, and making sure that he got what he wanted when it came to ammunition, food and ammunition, which is how a soldier works. He's got to have ammunition and he's got to have food. And they need more things than that these days, but that was something on which he was particularly keen. And so was, of course, Napoleon on the other side of the battlefield. He was very careful about that kind of thing because he knew its value as well. And his chief of staff was a chap called Berthier, and he was a very good chief of staff. Napoleon won most of his battles, his great battles, when he was his chief of staff. The only time he didn't have him as a chief of staff was Waterloo, in spite of what the French actually believe they did in fact lose. And it's always, you've got to have that kind of expertise at your elbow as a chief of staff. Montgomery had a chap called Freddy de Guion, who was also another good chief of staff, who was in a position to actually sometimes cover the mistakes that Montgomery made. And again, it's all about logistics. These days we have, I must mention General Cowan in the Great War, in that very difficult war, that awful war, who made sure that every soldier got his post and every soldier was fed and every soldier got his ammunition. And talking of ammunition, there's just been a hit by the Russian Federation on the Ukraine and on their storage capacities. A very big hit on their storage capacities, so it means something might be brewing. But they know the value, again, of logistical support, which is why they're doing something about that to hit the Ukraine. So this is another fascinating concept. Now, of course, now there's a little bit more. There's very complicated ammunition requirements, very high use of ammunition, and Kazivac as the army calls it, getting wounded chaps back to be looked after, as well as ammunition, so on and so forth, and replacement parts for complicated weaponry. All these things need to be done. When you don't do that, when you have a problem, and of course we had a problem, let's go back again to 1914, 1915, when we got ourselves into a very stupid, unnecessary war to bail the bloody French out, and we found that we didn't have any shells. We didn't have any shells for our guns, so we had artillery batteries who could only fire 4 shells a day, because we were woefully unprepared to fight a land war. And of course it's starting to happen again. You're getting the armchair generals and politicians starting a great deal of bellicosity when it comes to the Russian Federation, with no knowledge of how a modern war works at all. No idea. Otherwise we wouldn't be talking such shit. So this is one of the problems we've got. And we have another problem insofar as generals are concerned. There is no general now in office who has commanded a corps and a major exercise. Not one. I think the last one was, somebody took issue with me. I said the last one was 1982 and somebody told me there was one in 1990 or something. The point is they're long since retired from the army. So we have a logistics situation, we have a lack of skill training, we have a lack of people, so on and so forth. But I think you'll find this clip that I've attached, for those of you who want to take a very much more deeper interest in it, and he explains just how modern logistics work. But generally speaking, the principles never changed. It's just got perhaps a little bit more complex, but the situation is just how it always has been since the Napoleonic Wars. And we are treading very dangerous ground here if we do not understand these things. So beware these fellows who are suggesting that we ought to get involved in wars with massive land powers, that no good ever comes of it, no good ever has come of it, no good will come of it in the future. And I don't want to listen to chaps who commanded platoons in the army gobbing off about how we ought to do this and how we ought to do that, because they know nothing at all. Spotty subalterns they were in the army, and of course they've now got themselves a political position of comment, which isn't worth listening to. So think on, everybody, think on, and listen to this clip. For those of you, I know many of you who take quite a decent and deep interest in military history. As most of you know, my work is very heavily independently research based. And I get my information from all over the world. It would help if you press the subscribe button and the little bell next to it, because the more subscribers I have, the more likely it is that international independent research institutes will share their material with me. It's most helpful, and then of course I automatically share it with you. So, surprise, won't cost you anything. Thank you very much.